So now that we've talked about the weight of the yarn and the color, the other thing you want to look for is something that's not very fluffy. Fluffy yarn is really popular right now, blanket yarn especially, but the texture of it can make it really hard to see stitches. The stitch definition isn't very good. So you can see here's a blanket yarn and you can see how fluffy and thick it is. It's great for blankets and other snuggly projects, but it is not great for teaching yourself how to crochet. So we're going to start with our yarn, and what we're going to do is we're just going to make a slip knot. So take your yarn, make a loop with a tail like this, and then just twist like that. And you're going to pull, oh boy, I'm making a big mess of this. Here we go. Pull your long tail that's hooked up to your yarn through, and there you have a slip knot. And what this does is it makes the loop adjustable by pulling. So you can see it's tightening up on my hook there. You will start almost every single crochet project with a slip knot. As you get more advanced and follow different patterns, there are different methods for starting crochet projects, but I would say the majority of the time you're going to start with a slip knot. So there are different ways of holding your hook. I tend to hold it like this with all my fingers, and I keep my index finger on the loop of the stitch I'm working on to help hold it in place. And then to hold my yarn, I put it under like this. And what that does is as I'm crocheting, it creates tension and keeps my stitches even. So, and then I use my thumb and middle finger to hold on to the work as I go. So this is how I hold my yarn and my hook. Again, everyone does it differently. Some people hold their hooks like this, almost like they're holding a pencil. I can't do that. I don't know why. I become, functionally unable to do it. So how we're going to start, again, we're going to start with some chain stitches. So you've got your hook in your loop with your slip stitch, and you're just going to take your hook and you're going to bring it underneath that yarn, hook it. This is called yarning over, and you're going to pull through. And there you see you've created that first loop. And you're just going to keep doing that. So you're going to yarn over and pull through. Yarn over and pull through. And you're going to do this until you've reached the number of chains that the pattern asks for. And you can see at the end of every stitch, I just kind of put my finger back on the loop just to kind of hold it in place and keep it stationary while I move my hook. Okay, so here we have our chain. And let's just talk about the anatomy here real quick. You never knew there was so much about crochet, did you? So here's your first chain. This top loop is where you're going to be crocheting back into as you come back through your row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 chains. I don't really like uneven numbers, so let's just do one more there. 14. Okay, so actually let's do another one. So when you are coming back across to create, we're going to do a single crochet. More yarn here. When you are coming back across, you'll see in the pattern, it'll say single crochet into the second chain from your hook. And you might be asking yourself, okay, what does that mean? So when you look at your chains, you've got your hook is going to be in this loop. This is your first chain. This is your second chain. So I'm going to put my hook back in here, tighten my loop up, grab a hold of my yarn, and I'm going to insert my hook under that top loop all the way through. And the other thing is when you're crocheting your chains, you want to make sure they're not too tight. Otherwise, putting your hook back in to come across is going to be hard to do. Again, you're going to grab a hold of that yarn, yarn over, pull through, and now you have 2 loops on your hook. So you're going to grab a hold of that yarn again, yarn over, and pull through both loops, and that is a single crochet. So you're going to repeat that all the way across. So insert into that chain, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. You have 2 single crochets. Insert into the next one, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. And you're gonna just continue as so. So if I was a real professional, this would be the part of the video where I speed it up, but I am not. So when you're creating your initial chain, you'll notice that there are usually more chains to start with than the number of stitches you'll end up with. So in this case, I chained 15, but because I skipped the first chain from my hook, I am going to end up with 14 single crochets. Okay, so here we are. I'm coming up to my last one. So here's my slip knot from the very beginning, and here's my last chain. You want to make sure you get in there, because if you don't, your work will slowly shrink as you continue rows. So yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Okay, so now here we are. You did your first row of single crochets. Look how pretty. And I'm going to just pull that out. So when you're looking at your single crochets, oh, let's get this to focus here. You're looking at these. There's these little V's, 1, 2, 3. You see these? And these are the tops of your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. So you see those little V's, those are the tops of your single crochets. Those are what you're going to work into on the next row. So I'm going to insert my hook, tighten up my loop, grab a hold of my yarn, give myself some slack here, and I'm going to chain to continue onto the next row. So I'm going to yarn over, pull through, and I'm just going to do 1 single chain. And what that does is that creates a little bit of height to match the height of the single crochets. Now I'm going to turn my work around. So we're working in rows, so we're going to go back and forth. And I'm going to look for my V's. See my V here? This V is my chain. We're not going to work into him right here. We're going to work into this one. So grab my yarn, and I'm going to insert my hook under both these. You can see here. Not good at this. Okay. I'm going to yarn over and pull through. You can kind of see how that looks. Yarn over and pull through. Okay, now looking at this, you're going to see there's this little hole here. See that little hole? That's where you're going to insert your hook. So put it in there, and then at the top you want to make sure you're going through both strands. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through. Find your little hole right here. Make sure you're going through both. You got both V's there. Yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through. Find your little hole. Make sure you got both. Yarn over, pull through. And just continue on. And at the end of your row, you should still have 14 single crochets. And I'm going to show you what the last one looks like, because it can be kind of tricky. Again, as you're working your single crochets, you don't want to pull them too tight, because it will make it difficult for you to get your hook in on the next row. But you do want to make sure that they're somewhat even as far as like keeping the tension of the yarn. Okay, so this is my second to last one, and you can kind of see here how my work is just a little bit short of this end. So this is a little tricky at the end of rows, but you're going to take this and you're going to find your little hole like you did all the way around, and you're going to squeeze it in there. Make sure you got both your loops there, and you're going to yarn over and pull through. And that's your last one. You can see how that created an even edge. And then you just chain one, turn your work, and continue on in your single crocheting.